Hello. This is something of an experiment. I'm doing this recording on Zoom, so I apologise if the lighting's all a bit weird and all that sort of stuff. I hope it's not too grainy. I hope the sound's okay. I've got my little ears in. But I just wanted to, ouch, I'm sitting on a hot water bottle. It got a bit hot. It's really, really cold here this morning. It's Sunday morning. And I just really wanted to talk to you. I have a video in the making, a really nice video with lots of pretty pictures and photos and, footage and stuff. But that takes time and has to be edited. And I want it to be really lovely, like a slow witching kind of a video. So it does take time and, just has to be juggled in. So that one's a little bit further down the line. I also was there's some kitchen witchery in there, and there's bench spray that I know a lot of people who used to follow this channel loved the witchy bench spray that I use. So I've done a video, a little part of that video of making that bench spray, but then you have to let it sit for 2 weeks and then decant it and strain it and stuff. And of course, I could have pretended that 2 weeks had gone by like a real filmmaker, but Taurus, hello, everything has to be as honest as possible. So I am waiting for the bench spray to have its 2 weeks. And also it does change color a little bit during that 2 weeks. So yeah, that's what's going on there. So this video is really just a catch up, a reassurance that I Found a Fox is indeed open again, and I am not just uploading old videos and not thinking about the channel. I'm thinking about the channel a lot. So yeah, so it's Sunday morning. It's not winter yet, but it's getting very, very, very close to winter and feeling very, very wintry. And it's the end of May, and I have had my Samhain altar up for the entire month of May. I don't know if other people do that. Here in Australia, Samhain is on the 30th of April. And it's very low key. It's not, it's not that sort of Halloween vibe. But to me, it's the one Sabbath that I really love and that I never forget. And I do really enjoy putting together my Samhain altar and pulling out all the photographs of all my dearly departed and having them all together in one place. So I don't like just to do it for a couple of nights. I like to have it up there for the entire month of April, and then I can light candles every morning and every evening, and it's a beautiful focal place. So I will, but now it's the end, coming to the end of May. So this afternoon I will probably dismantle that altar and start thinking about more of a seasonal altar, a winter altar, and that kind of thing. So that's sort of part of my plan for today, for this cold, damp kind of day that we've got ahead. Himself, I can hear him clomping around in the background, is getting ready to go to the city. He's catching the train to Melbourne to the football. So he's feeling a bit on edge because it is a big game today. It's a Collingwood versus Carlton. If anyone out there is Australian and is into the footy, you understand the significance of a Collingwood-Carlton game. They are old rivals that go back like to the beginning of football, when Melbourne was just, well, it was Smelbourne, wasn't it? It was called Smelbourne. It was the Yarra Flats were not the flats, not the council flats that we have today, but the actual flats where all the tanneries and all these nasty kind of businesses, where it was very, very polluted. And Carlton was seen as the affluent suburb where all the richies lived, and Collingwood was where all the old terraces that have, not the ones that have survived and been gentrified, but the really the slums of Collingwood were on the Yarra Flats down near where all the tanneries poured all their waste and stuff. And so there was this really classist, elitist sort of battle that went on between Collingwood and Carlton, and that has carried through, as is human nature, right up until today, 2022, when Collingwood and Carlton go into battle on the football ground today. So there's a little football history for you. And yes, we barrack for Collingwood. Go Collingwood. You can see I'm really experienced, can't you? Anyway, so he's heading off. So I will have a lovely day here pottering around. I've got the fire going already, and I've turned off the fan so that we didn't get too much noise pollution in here. But yeah, I'm going to cozy in. I've got some knitting to do, and I've actually got some daisies that I want to put into bigger pots, so I'll do that because it's not raining, it's just cold, so I'll go out and do that as well. Nuts about daisies, they really do well here. Daisy, you know, big pink daisy bushes, pinks and yellows, and the bees just love them. So I can always find another spot for a daisy, and if I can't in the garden, I can in pots. So I was at the farmers market yesterday, so I got another 3 daisy bushes too. So I'll pot them, dig up some compost and pot them as well today. And I thought I'd make this little video too and just sort of share what I've got up to this week in my witchy world. So I had a morning shopping. I went to town, which is the closest country town to us down the road, and I had a lovely morning, and I came home with such a bounty of bits and bobs. So I visited a few of my favourite little haunts, the bookshop, and also another shop. It's called Merchants on Mostyn, if you live in Victoria, Australia. It's a gorgeous shop. It's got this incredible vibe, and the woman who owns it has got a really great eye for the way the whole thing's set up. So it's an experience when you go in there, I find, and there's so many curiosities and oddities in there, and like it's not exactly witchy, but there's a lot of witchy stuff in there. So and she has this beautiful central table with crystals, and I just haven't seen crystals displayed like this before, with such care. They just glow. You know, they're all sitting on mirrors or inside mirrored glass cases, and they just seem like they're all polished, and they're in their groups, and I don't know, it's just really enchanting, the crystal section. But she also has a lot of oracle cards. She has a lot of sort of macabre stuff. She has a lot of really camp Christian iconography as well. Just all these really strange and wonderful things. She has those, I don't know what they're called, specimen glass boxes with the butterflies pinned in them. They're not real. I'm pretty sure they're not real. No, some of them have got kind of like human faces, so they're not real. So she's got stuff like that, sort of dark academia feel to it. So it's a great shop, and I love going in there. Lots of incense, lots of candles. So I went into that shop and spent quite a bit of time in there. Not only was I looking at the stuff, I was also listening to Janis Joplin on the soundtrack. I love a shop that plays good music. I can't stand it when you go into a beautiful sort of themed groovy shop and they're playing some crappy radio station. Like, it just kills the moment, doesn't it? I like the whole thing to be a theatrical experience, and the music's really important. So she had this really cool Janis Joplin record. I think it was record playing. Like literally, was it vinyl? I don't know. It had to feel like it was vinyl. So I got me a new tarot deck, which I've put on my Insta account to show you guys. So it's called Ask the Witch. And I'm really, really loving it. So the thing that I really want to say, though, to tell you about, in case you are learning tarot like me and have been learning for a long time like me, and I had this really cool experience. So for the first couple of years of learning tarot, I was doing a daily draw and then using my, oh, hang on, I have to, just a second. This book, this is, so let me I'm really waffling, I know. Okay, it's Sunday morning, that's my excuse. Hold on, I need to pause. Can I pause this? All right, part 2. I paused it and said goodbye to himself, but then I didn't hit record properly. And then the second half of the video didn't record. So now I'm doing it again. And I've just had to, the fire was getting a bit low. So I've popped another log on the fire and I'm going to go back over what I already just said, but not to you. All right. So I was talking about the tarot, wasn't I? All right. So I wanted to say that with learning the tarot, for the first couple of years of learning the tarot, what I was doing was a daily, so I stuck to Rider-Waite. So I selected Rider-Waite, I made that my go-to, and I've worked solely, in terms of tarot, solely with Rider-Waite. And because I wanted to stay focused and not get distracted by all the pretty shinies out there and get some sort of solid grounding. And so what I was doing was a daily draw, one card every morning, and then I would practically transcribe word for word from this book. Yes, it has been chewed by a kitty. I would transcribe that into my tarot journal and sort of be learning a lot by rote, but also, you know, familiarizing myself over and over again with the cards on a daily basis. And of course, I was playing around with the cards as well, you know, in other situations, but that was my bedrock sort of system of a daily draw, transcribing the meanings, looking at all the symbology and thinking about it and what the actual book says about it, right? So very bookish learning. So I did that for quite a while, I don't know, a year, 2 years. Then in the last 12 months, I've sort of put tarot aside, not for consciously for any reason, but I probably just grew a bit tired of it. I don't know, but I just started playing with Oracle. And for me, you know, I think Oracle is a lot easier than tarot because a lot of it is self-explanatory and the meanings are very laid out for you, and it's much gentler in many ways than tarot. And so I was really enjoying just playing with Oracle and exploring Oracle for the last couple of, 12 months or so. But lately I've got back into tarot. Sort of corresponded with the reopening of I Found a Fox and everything. I don't know. It's just this re-energizing of my interest in almost like in going deeper. It's like I've been skating for a while and now I've dived under again on the ice rink. Ooh. And so, but what I discovered is that now that I've started doing daily draws again and playing with tarot again, I've had this lovely discovery, and I think it relates to that thing in Steiner, in the Steiner system. My oldest son went through the Steiner system, and there was a thing that Steiner taught about learning and learning processes, where he talked about the virtues of remembering and forgetting and remembering as integral to learning. It's integral to the learning process, forgetting and remembering, and taking big pauses in your learning of a particular topic. And then when you come back to it, your brain has had time, probably your subconscious, of course, has had time to calibrate and shift and organize all the information that you've taken in. It has time to chew it over. And then when you come back to it refreshed, you see it with new eyes and you remember. And there's this, and it's the second time round, it's easier to learn. And this goes for musical instruments, it goes for all sorts of things, as maths, times tables, all sorts of stuff. You take a break, you come back, and suddenly, you have this remembering going on. And that's what's happened with me with the tarot. Coming back to it, I've discovered that I know shit that I didn't know I knew. And that's been great for my confidence. I'm not saying I've come back an expert or the mastered it in any shape or form, but I have come back to it and I'm not green anymore. And I'm looking at the cards and going, oh yeah, that's blah blah blah, and that relates to blah blah blah, and I can see this, and that's helping my confidence. And so now I'm being able to look at the cards more in terms of storyboards and how they, you know, if I do a spread, how they relate together. And so that's been a really, really cool thing. And the other thing that I'm doing now too in my Witch's Hour of Power every morning is I do a 3-card spread. So I'm inventing my own little spreads, which is new to me too, because I wasn't doing that when I put the tarot down. So now I've come back, I'm inventing my own little spreads, and I'm doing a 3-card pull every morning, and the same kind of thing, then looking at the book and what the book has to say about it, but also writing my own interpretation down first into my journal, and then looking at the book and seeing, you know, if they correspond and where they differ. And I'm not correcting myself. Okay, those of you who are out there going, oh my God, she's just, you know, stuck to the book and not allowing her intuition to come through. That's not what's happening. I am allowing my own, honoring my own interpretation of the cards as well, but playing with the book still. Because I realized that if I'm doing a daily draw of 1 card, you know, I'll be 90 by the time I've got any handle on tarot. So I need to speed things up a bit. I need to put this on fast forward a bit. So 3 cards and sometimes 4 every morning is the way to go at the moment. So when I was in Merchants of Moston, I got myself a new tarot deck because I thought I can now allow myself the treat of having an extra tarot deck after all these years. And I've put it on Insta, I bought Ask the Witch by Francesca Matteoni, and Simone Pace is the illustrator, Simone Pace. So this is, and it's very sort of, the art it's an acquired taste. It's sort of Ghibli anime Japanese art, but it's sort of cartoony as well. It's a strange combo, and I've found that I've really come to enjoy it and appreciate it as I've been playing with the deck and really loving it. Actually, it's certainly not an aesthetic that I would normally reach for, but there was something about this deck that really spoke to me. And I'm so glad I bought it because the book, the accompanying booklet, is so lovely. And it is, I'm not saying lovely to look at, it is so beautifully written and informative and interesting, and goes that step further. Each thing only has a page. Each card only has a page, but the page is very well considered. Now, this is something that I've found throughout my tarot and oracle journey, is that sometimes the accompanying booklets really let me down. They're not particularly well written. They feel like they're hurried. They feel like they're a necessary part of the process that a publisher has just sort of commissioned, and you know, the booklet's sort of like half thought through, often full of platitudes. You know, it doesn't sort of ring with a lot of sincerity. So I get very disappointed if the book's not up to speed. Sound like an old, you know, cranky old school teacher, don't I? But it's not that. I just really appreciate that sort of depth of thought in a booklet. And that's what you get with this one. And so what I'm doing now is I do my 3-card spread in the morning, pulling from the Rider-Waite deck, still pulling from the Rider-Waite deck, but reading the interpretations in the Ask the Witch booklet. And so I'm getting these 2 sort of inroads into, you know, into the tarot. And I'm finding that this book is giving a lot of fresh intakes. Some of them relate very strongly to what they're saying in Rider-Waite, but others stray off and give their own interpretation and whatnot. And so that can only enrich your knowledge as well. Hey, now I wanted to show you something. So for instance, okay, so one morning this week, I pulled, as part of my little storyboard 3-card pull. I pulled the Star. Now, I have trouble with the Major Arcana. I don't know. They don't always sink into my brain. Now, what's Judgment? What's Temperance? What's it all mean? Okay. And Star is definitely one of those as well. It's like, what's going on here? Yada, yada. And this is the Star card from the Witch book, right? But what I really loved was what they say in here about the Star card. And I am going to take the liberty of reading it to you. And I hope I'm not breaking any copyright rules. And I hope that, you enjoy my little reading of what they say about this card, the Star, all right? And the heading is Aradia. Probably can't see that. Okay, Aradia. After a long journey, a heron returns to its home waters, bearing messages from the living, their hopes. He entrusts them to the waters that reflect the quiet night and the stars. One star sees them and comes to the water's edge, where it lands on its toes as if it were dancing. It is Aradia, the daughter of Diana, the queen of the witches and creator of the rain, the stars, and the sky that surrounds them. According to modern legend, she brought witchcraft not only to the oppressed and defeated, the victims persecuted by the powerful, but also to every individual who felt out of place and repressed as well. What exactly is the art of witchcraft? So much more than potions and rituals. It is the poetic force of the imagination, the ability to perceive bridges and pathways where most see only abysses and barriers, and to walk into the future without ignoring the facts of the present. It is the hope that restores your soul, that opens your eyes to a landscape of possibilities, and asks above all that you do not surrender. With the patience of the water that wears away the rock, or of the memory of who we are and who we can become, a memory that gives dignity to all suffering, Aradia takes the heron's messages and sends him back into the world. When the star appears, it asks us to shine, to listen to its promises. Regardless of what happens, we are part of life and we give light to a star, the star that is all of us. So that to me is good writing. And that opens up another portal in my brain and another way of thinking about the star card, and it helps to embed its symbology into my imagination and into my mind in a way that perhaps the more sort of the drier book was not working as well. But in conjunction together, these things really impact on my mind and my imagination and my memory. And so that might be, if you're learning the tarot, that might be a helpful approach for you to think about mixing it up a bit, and also to think about putting it aside, letting it rest, coming back months and months later and seeing where you're up to in terms of remembering, forgetting and remembering, and that as part of the learning process. So that was really, really cool to have got that. Oh, the other thing that I got, this is like a, what are they, a haul? Ooh. I got a beautiful, beautiful bag for I'm going to put my Rider-Waite in this because it's precious to me. It's the first deck. It's the beginning of the journey for me. And so this is black velvet, and the woman who owns the shop, she designed this and then had it manufactured. She had 4 different designs, but this is the one that I got, all sparkly and pretty. So I love that. So that's something to tuck my Rider-Waite into. I'm also knitting another tarot bag for the Ask the Witch. So I started that yesterday, and that's actually almost finished. It doesn't take long to knit a tarot bag. It's not exactly a huge task, and I'll probably work on that this afternoon. I don't have that handy. Listen, my battery's running low, so I'm going to have to say goodbye. I did want to talk a little bit more about some other stuff. I'll show you this card just to say goodbye. Look at that. That's from the Formidable Forest. Look at those foxes there under the mushroom. Aren't they divine? I'm always buying cards because I love snail mail, and I love writing to people, and people write to me. I like to write back, you know, in something pretty. All right, so I am going to go because this battery's going to die, and I need to, I think this fire needs a bit of stoking as well. What do you think? I'll do that while I sit here. I'll chain to the thing. I don't want it to go out because I'm not very good at lighting fires. Himself got it going for me properly. Good. Yeah, that's better. All right. Battery low, and time to say goodbye. Thank you so much for sitting with me here on Sunday morning at I Found a Fox, and I will upload another video very, very soon. Thank you so much for coming on this journey with me, and if you've stuck through this video, thank you for that as well. Loads and loads of love to you. Brightest blessings, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.